Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is VIN 2118. It is a 2017 Caviar with LA20 interior. So Caviar is paint code 223. LA20 is a black interior with a standard carbon fiber trim. First, I saw this car for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and then now it's on Auto Trader. $49,000, 104,000 miles. And it has aftermarket wheels, exhaust, maybe a couple other things, but overall, it looks very clean. Production for these cars, pretty common combination. 446 of the 2,347 that I've identified for the US 49 market, so that's US except Hawaii. 446 of them were Caviar. Of those 446, 224 had the LA20 or the black interior. For 2017, there were 342 cars that were identified for that year. 65 of them were Caviar. Of those 65, 38 had LA20 interiors. So this car is one of 38 for 17 or one of 224 for all of the years. So as far as combinations go, it's definitely on the more common side. Carfax, Epic VIN, and Auto Check. So Carfax shows this as a 2-owner, 2-accident car, one in May of 2019 and one in August of 2022, and it just says paint repair. It doesn't actually say accident, so I would say two damage incidents or accidents. Epic VIN shows 2 owners, no accidents, and AutoCheck shows 2 owners and 3 accidents. Shows May of 2019, so that matches Carfax. Shows September of 2022, unknown. That's close to Carfax. Carfax showed August, this shows September. We'll give that a pass. And then a 3rd accident on February of 2023 showing minor damage. Doesn't say where. So I think it's based on interpretation of those, it looks like it's a 2-owner, 2 or 3 accident vehicle. And for $49,000 with 104,000 miles, that's probably a little on the high side, and I'll get to the values here in a minute. Previous sales, it was for sale in February of 2017 for $88,000 in Ohio. And it looks like they probably did a dealer trade, because then it popped up at the Lexus dealer in May, so 3 months later, for the same price in Georgia. The very next time it was listed, of course, is the one now, and it was listed July 26th of 2025, $49,000, 104,000 miles in Tennessee. Values for this car. So the 2017s are pretty much in line with where the 16s are right now. If this car was without accidents, I think it's probably still slightly high for the mileage. It's probably closer to a $45,000 or $46,000 car if it had no accidents. Because of the accidents reported, it's probably a little bit lower than that, but because it has above average mileage for where most GSFs are right now, you know, the average is probably around the 70,000, 80,000 mile mark for most of the GSFs in the 16, 17 range. The fact that this has higher than that and it's got 3 accidents or 3 damage incidents, whatever you want to call it, again, I think it's probably mid to lower 40s is where it probably needs to be. It is, however, very clean. And so let's look at the pictures. So the carbon fiber looks very good, and maybe starting on the edge of the driver's door panel, that's one of those you need to look at very closely, but it looks minor if it is, but that will of course continue to grow. Once it starts, it's just going to keep going. Minimal wear on the inside. The driver's bolster looks really good, especially for a car that's 9 years old and 104,000 miles. I mean, it really does look in pretty good shape. It looks very well taken care of. The front, it has minimal chips on the front, and I've seen cars with 50 or 60,000 less miles that look worse. And I think that it was definitely apparent that it's been well cared for. Despite the 3 accidents, it's been well cared for. Jumping into the service history, something of note is it hasn't been Lexus serviced since early of 2022. So you're talking about 3.5 years since it's been Lexus serviced. That's not a deal breaker. If you look at the service history, you know, if you looked at the service history on mine, it hasn't been, other than the ZLZ stuff, you know, it hasn't been to a Lexus dealer in almost 2 years. That's not a deal breaker. I'm a DIYer. I like to work on my stuff. I have the knowledge of how to do it. I did the 60,000 mile service myself. You know, it's something like that. So I'm bringing that up in all of these videos just so you know the last time it was serviced, but it is also good to see a constant, annual service at least or something like that, where this car's been to the Lexus dealer regularly. And so in the last 3.5 years, that's not the case with this car. That being said, let's jump into the service history on this car. January 2018, 11,000 miles. It had a park assist error, and they removed the rear bumper and found rodent damage to the parking sensors. So they replaced the harness, and I would assume the sensors, maybe not, but just the harness anyway. July of 2018, the JLB recall was done. That's the fuel pump recall. Good to see that's done. Most of these cars, I would say probably 90% of them have had that fuel pump recall already done. March of 2020, the KLG customer service program was done, and that is the navigation issue where if you're on the highway and it's showing you off on the road to the side or vice versa, it's just basically reporting the GPS in the wrong location. So that update has been done on this car, 43,000 miles. January of 2021 reported that the navigation screen was freezing up or turning black. Again, that's not unheard of in these cars, but I wouldn't call it a common issue. And there is a customer service program that's out there for this where they reprogram it, and it doesn't look like they did that for this. There were a couple other things that were reported at the same time. The rear charge port was not working, the one that's behind the center console. The front speakers were not working, but the tech looked at these and said they worked. So basically, out of all 3 of those complaints, it doesn't look like anything was done. April of 2021, so 3 months later, they were getting codes for the TVD, torque vectoring differential, and the blind spot monitoring, and it looks like it was caused by low battery voltage, which that's, again, not unheard of. These cars do some weird things when the battery gets weak, and these cars are also very hard on batteries. So if you see stuff like that, I wouldn't look much into it unless you see it again. Same service, they complained about the cooled seats not working. The cooled seats, the ventilated seats in these cars, they suck. There's no other way to put it. And if you look at the service history on mine, it's the original owner, it's like 3 or 4 times. Basically, every time we brought it in, he would complain that the cooled seats are not working. They didn't do anything about it. It's just, they're not very good. And there is an aftermarket solution, but it robs some of your rear seat legroom. Is basically there's a little connector that attaches to the floor vent that blows up to the seat, so it sucks in cold air to blow up through the seat. And that's about as good as it's going to get, but the cooled seats in these cars are not great. The same service, there was also a complaint about the AC temperature not working, not blowing as it should, and there is a customer service program for this. For the AC servo sweep, there's 5 motors underneath the dash, 5 servos, and that's probably what the case was here, but I guess maybe the tech didn't know about it. Doesn't look like anything was done in that case. May of 21, 50,000 miles. They, again, had a complaint about the cooled seats. Nothing was done about it. February of 2022, 68,000 miles. They talk about the rear end binding, and the tech just notes oversized wheels and tires. It had the aftermarket wheels you probably see on it now. The lighted door sills not working, found to be aftermarket and having internal failure. So lighted door sills on these cars were optional. This car originally was not equipped with them, but one of the first entries in the service is they installed them from Lexus. So I don't know if there's some disagreement, but it says that they were aftermarket and they failed. So if it still has them, see if they work. Maybe they were replaced, maybe they weren't. And again, another complaint about the AC not performing correctly, but nothing was done. And it sounds to me like the tech that was working on this car wasn't aware of the customer service programs. Most of the programs for these cars came out in 2018, 2019, and this is in 21 and 22 that they're talking about these. Nothing was done. And that's it. That's the last service entry. The complaints about the HVAC stuff, but it looks like nothing was ever done. If I was buying this car, I would definitely have Lexus do a servo sweep on it and make sure that everything's performing correctly. If it's not, since there's been multiple reports of this, then you may be on the hook for AC servo replacement. So if you test drive this car, I would definitely try to do the maximum and minimum temperatures, left and right side, do the defrost, do the floor on the face, run through the whole thing with the climate control, recirc, non-recirc, turn the rear vents on, turn them off. All of that needs to be gone through to make sure everything's working like it should. So it sounds like that's an issue that was never addressed on this car. So other things that I did not see on this are spark plug replacement, 60,000 mile service, or now 100,000 or 120,000 mile service. Hasn't been reported, not to say it hasn't been done, but I would definitely investigate that, and if not, you're going to be on the hook for, you know, if you do it at the dealer, a couple $1,000s to do the 60,000 mile service. Other things, the lower control arm bushings, there's no evidence, no report of anything being done there. So that's a common issue with these cars. If you're looking at this car, turn the wheels all the way left and right, make sure there's no interior, inner tire wear on the front tires. If there is, not only do you got to replace the tires, but you got to replace front control arm bushings. And you probably, if you don't go with OEM, you can upgrade. There's several aftermarket options that are a little stiffer that just eliminate the play and you don't have any issues with it after that. So we talked about 60,000 mile service and or fluids, spark plugs, lower control arm bushings, and of course the valley plate. There's no evidence of the coolant valley plate being done on this car unless they can prove otherwise. But coolant valley plate, very labor intensive job, and all you have to do is to do a mechanical inspection. When you're getting a pre-purchase inspection done, have a scope underneath the intake manifold and see if you see pink crusty coolant under there. If that's the case, you have about, at the dealer, $2,000+ job being done, $1,200, $1,500 at an independent mechanic. So you would be on the hook for quite a bit there. Overall though, I think it's a very clean car. Interior looks good. You know, again, that carbon fiber may be starting delaminating. Another thing that I did not see done on this is the ZLZ, the ZLZ customer service program, and that's again 10 years from the in-service date, so you have until 2027 for that car to get the dash replaced if it is deforming or if it's sticky or if it's starting to crack. So that's something that hasn't been done on that. Lexus will do that free of charge. If you do that outside of that program, then you're going to be on the hook for a few $1,000s because it's a very labor intensive job. The part itself is like $100, but the rest of it, it's all labor. And while that's out, I would probably replace those servos just as a precaution because it's had previous complaints about it. That's just my opinion. But overall, this car is a very clean car. I think that minus the accidents, which again, we don't know the detail of those, but for the mileage, everything else overall, I don't see a lot of red flags. I would say it would make a great driver's car, especially for the mileage. It's a common combination of colors, so it's not going to be collectible or anything like that. It's, you know, I don't really care for the aftermarket wheels. I kind of like the OEM style, but that's again personal preference. But it looks very well kept. It looks well serviced until 2022, 2023. But I would just make sure that it's up to date on the rest of the maintenance. Other than that, it looks like a great one. So the price, I think it's mid to low 40s with the accident and the mileage, but it is, I would say, above average for how it looks, how it presents itself exterior and interior wise. So again, if you're buying it, you're probably gonna have to put a couple $1,000s into it. That's nothing out of the ordinary, but it does look fairly well sorted other than that. So yeah, I would go check this one out. I think it's worth looking into, but I think you definitely need to do your due diligence with it, especially mechanically and the service history on it. So VIN 2118, go check it out, guys. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon.